If you give me £1,000 tomorrow morning, I wouldn't dig a spit with a spade in it. And God between us and all harm, I don't want to see anyone around here meddling with it.
I know there's an obvious Fae Trap right there, and I'm wondering if we should go underneath this or around it. I'm thinking of opting around. What do you think, babe?
Noticed these mushrooms on the ground, and I came over to discover that it's a huge ring.
Why be thinking like that?
No farmer would dare cut this tree down if he didn't want to bring himself bad luck.
Well, fairies live there.
I was looking on the internet and I came across something called a Fae Trap. And I was like, what's this Fae Trap? Because the actual video intrigued me. I was like, what is this? I couldn't understand it. And we're going to be looking into video proof or evidence of Fae Traps soon. But I want to tell you what a Fae is, F-A-E. Fae is basically a species of fairy. Now wait, right? I know what you might be thinking. Oh God, Ben. Come on now, fairies? Wait. Right. I'm not saying I believe this, but I thought it was a good discussion. Fae are a species of fairy, but fairies are not fae. Fae are its own type of fairy. Now, fairies are usually to do with nature and magic, but fae, like I say, are their own type. And apparently these shouldn't be messed with, because if you mess with them, you could be taken into their spiritual world, and they'll play games on you. And these games are not good. And apparently these fae set traps. So I've got some videos. I've got some videos for you to watch, and this is really quite interesting. Again, I'm taking it with a pinch of salt, but throughout my dive into the paranormal, I do have to admit that usually mythical creatures, fairy tale stories do have an element of truth. So take a little look at these couple of videos first, and then we're going to dive into evidence, I suppose, of the Fae fairy. We're going to go right back in time, and we're going to lead up, because I think you need to understand how much people do genuinely believe in the Fae and fairies. Listen to this guy.
If you give me £1,000 tomorrow morning, I wouldn't dig a spit with a spade in it.
Well, what about the fairy field now, where they've changed it to?
The fairy field and the raheen is all the same to me. I wouldn't meddle with it. And God between us and all harm, I don't want to see anyone around here meddling with it. With that enchanted place.
Peter Bryan isn't alone in his fear of the power of the wee people. So Tim Hayes faced a dilemma. Where was he going to get men to dig the grave for him? Obviously he'd have to seek them out among his own workmates at Cork Dockyard. Tim, why do you want to go down in a fairy fort?
I just want to prove to the whole world that there's no such a thing as a fairy.
I have to stop it there just to let you know that clearly this is Irish, okay? And generally speaking, I think the origin of fairies is Wales, Ireland, and Cornwall, okay? Probably other parts of the world, but more specifically to those areas, like the Celtic areas.
You're a man who obviously doesn't believe
I
in
don't
fairies.
believe in fairies. Although I've been warned by several people not to go down, even to go near the fairy fort. In fact, I had a letter from a widow from Douglas in Cork last night, and she said she saw a fairy 30 years ago, and she hadn't an hour's luck since. I think that's only all to show.
You're not going to take any notice of it
No, I'm
anyway.
not going to take any notices of it.
But you see, there are a lot of people like
He actually looks like a fairy himself, doesn't he? A leprechaun.
that widow woman you were talking about, who do honestly believe in this. Isn't that so?
Oh, definitely. In fact, my mother believed in it, and my uncles, and all down outside Middleton, there's a few fairy forts, and they wouldn't even go up around it.
Well, you know, of course, that in Wexford they've had difficulty in finding anybody to dig the grave for you.
That's right, I have 2 chaps from Cove here.
And obviously, like yourself, they don't believe in it.
They don't believe in it. In fact, a few of the dockyard workers here said they'd dig it for me.
Let me put this to you, Tim. In going into graves like this and burying yourself in the ground, there's a risk in this always, isn't there?
There's an awful risk in it, really. I mean, the way I go down, there was no one never went down in the conditions I went down under.
Well, are you not pushing your luck a bit, risking the fairies as well on top of this?
Of course I am, but there's no such a thing as a fairy.
Right, so you can tell straight away there's a huge split decision whether these fairies exist, okay? But I'm gonna show you now a small introduction into the Fae Trap. This next gentleman talks about it, okay? In a nutshell, a Fae Trap is something that maybe that you want in life or you desire in life that you shouldn't really see in your day-to-day life, okay? For example, let's just say you wanted a toy car and you're walking in the forest and all of a sudden you see a toy car. Now that would be considered as a Fae Trap because you wouldn't necessarily see a toy car in a forest. And word on the street is, if you see something like that, do not touch it because it's a trap to go into that spiritual world, and that's when they will play games on you and do bad things to you. Now listen to this guy.
This is a whitethorn tree.
This is the whitethorn tree.
Yeah.
This tree, I suppose, is synonymous with the fairies in Ireland. It's the only tree in Ireland that has 2 fruits in the 1 year. It has the leaves, which you can eat now and make tea out of, and it has the haws in the back end of the year, the berries. Mm-hmm. And this is in the centre of a stone circle here as well.
Yeah.
You can see the stones there placed around it. No farmer would dare cut this tree down if he didn't want to bring himself bad luck. A guy out the road set fire to one of these 2 years ago. He was as healthy as I am or you. And he's dead and buried now.
Notice he said something about the circular wall which is around. That's very, very important to remember.
So no farmer would blackguard or disturb this tree. These whitethorn trees is the trees of the land. They're the trees of the fairies. They're the spiritualities of the fairies.
And when you're entering a stone circle or coming up to a tree, do you think it'd be wise to ask permission?
Always.
Before
Always
you go?
ask permission.
Yeah.
I've permission asked here now because I was here this morning herding sheep and cattle. I shifted the cattle out of here because I knew you could be here for a while and I have an Angus bull and I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah.
So I'll be leaving you after me here to do your drumming
Yeah.
and all that. But yeah, they're a very special tree, these trees. They live to be 400 years old before they die. And then they will fall over and a new tree will grow up at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
He's so passionate and there's no talking him out of this, right? He's 100% convinced that fairies exist. Okay? Now, before I show you some Fae traps of what you should be aware of, okay, I'm going to show you some video footage of what people consider to be real fairies. Now, again, these can be put down to insects which look like fairies. It could be CGI. Again, it all depends on you, what you think, what you believe in, whether you think these are real fairies or not real fairies, okay? So let's take a little look at some video footage of fairies. I think the one which blew up around the world and went absolutely viral and crazy was a gentleman that was live streaming, and he took his audience to a particular tree. And he said, in here, in this hole in the tree, are fairies. This person was live, apparently live streaming, and this fairy was seen. There's probably people out there that could do it. I'm not too sure whether it was live or not, but it's still very interesting. Take a little look.
This the spot. This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why they be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know.
What's weird about this is the jerky motion of this fairy or fae, whatever it is. We don't know until we find out what its capabilities are, what its magic is, right? Because apparently different types of fae have different types of abilities, right? But if you look closely, I'm going to play it again. If you look closely, it's got this weird jerky motion.
What? This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why they be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know.
Let me try and find out the full version of this. Let me try and find it.
The spot. This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why they be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know. I'm gonna let this stay. Just let me know if y'all think I should try to be friends with them. Maybe I'll come bring them some food or something. This the spot. This the spot. Nah, come.
So the only thing that I'm thinking is I'm just wondering whether this is almost like an overlay or some sort of AI generated live stream chat bot, right? Because it doesn't seem like the chat is interacting with what he's actually doing. All it says is like, so-and-so joined, so-and-so joined, so-and-so joined, which is probably quite easy to do, right? As opposed to having AI to listen in on his conversation and try to interact in real time to what he's seeing. So that is a little bit sus. This is why I'm saying it's a little bit sus. In this video, you're going to see the fairy again, but there's something different about the tree. There's iron rods stuffed into it. And the question is, why is that? And this channel here, Maya Moore, the paranormal chick, explains why this is happening. Check this out.
I have an update for you, and it's in regards to the Tiny Tree People video that went viral. So the man has gone back to the tree to try to capture them. And I actually have it circled where you can see the one out of the tree, out of its home.
Right here, like here's the fairy.
Once you see it, once your eyes focus on it, you can't unsee it. Otherwise, it's really hard to see. But what's concerning is look at the holes in the tree. There's what seems to be iron bars stuffed in them. I'm going to tell you a little bit about folklore, and I'll explain why this is alarming. In folklore, in myths and legends, if you've ever studied it, you know that anything pertaining to the Fae, to the fairy folk, the most deadly thing to them is iron. And this is why that the theory goes and the myths and legends go that they're no longer in our realm is because of our high use of iron. So, if this is fake, if it's not real, if it's CGI, why did somebody, and who is this somebody, shove iron bars into the tree, into the openings?
So, was the live stream faked? Is the fairy fake? Was it real? If it was fake, though, why somebody shoved iron rods in there? To stop these fairies coming into our realm? We don't know. But anyway, here's some more footage of some fairies caught on camera.
I got a notification that there was someone at my door last night. As I opened the video app, it was just my daughter coming home. I was about to close the video app and then something caught my eye and I'm wondering, what the heck was that? So I zoomed in, I slowed the video right down, and oh my god, what is it? What is that? I got a notification that there was
That's
someone
incredible.
zoomed in, I slowed the video right down, and oh my god, what is it? What is that?
Strange. Here's somebody finding a fairy wing, apparently. I mean, this could be a lot of insects out there, I've got to be honest with you, but check this out.
I think I found a fairy wing in the woods. I'm going to leave it on this stump where it can return to the earth.
I'm not too sure about that one, but check this one out. Was that a fairy or a fae literally just flying into somebody's house? Look at this thing. Look at this thing. I started seeing this. I was like, what am I watching? What am I watching? But hang on, wait till you see the Fae Traps. Here's another one. What? What? Let's see this again. Look. Slow it down. This thing's got legs. It could be a load of rubbish, but it might not be. How crazy is that? What in the Tinkerbell is going on here? Right, hang on a second. I got another one. Now, this, I'm not too sure. People are saying it's fairies. I mean, that is a lot of fairies. I've got a funny feeling this could be something else. I'm not too sure. Please let me know if you know what this is. Whatever's going on, it's pretty paranormal in my mind. My mum's friend caught fairies on camera, 2 dancing right in the middle of one fly every by around 25 seconds. Let's have a little look. 25 seconds. 25 seconds. Here we go. What? I mean, I suppose it could be like moths. What's your thought? Whoa, what's your thoughts on this? My 10-year-old daughter says we caught a fairy on our camera. What? This thing just appears, right? So let's move on to Fae Traps. Now, this is what we need to be aware of. Now, some of these have got scientific explanations, I'm pretty sure, okay? So remember the Irish guy who is around that tree and he says about these circles, okay? You have to ask permission to go in these things. Basically, if you go into one of these things, this is going to be what happens to you.
Here we go.
Let's check out some of these, okay? Right, okay. This first one is, I would say, stereotypically, it's what you want to be looking out for. But a lot of people would say that there's a perfectly good scientific explanation for this. But we're going to look at a whole bunch of different variations of a Fae Trap. Check this one out, though, first.
Okay, this is super creepy. Branch going like crazy. No wind, nothing else is moving. Nothing is just going crazy. Here, videotape it, babe, and I want to stop it and then do it again.
Watch what happens.
Here, I'll just do it here. Alright, it stopped. Okay, that is really freaky. What the hell is that all about?
Isn't that so strange?
That is really weird.
Now, some real hardcore fairy fans and, like, you know, people that know a lot about them would say that isn't actually a Fae Trap. Some would say it is, some would say it's not. I would say there's probably some sort of scientific explanation for that. So let's take a little look at some other Fae traps, right? So here's another one. What's very strange that this isn't just one leaf. This is like a whole part of the tree. Look, if you notice, all the other trees, right? The leaves are barely moving. This is not a windy day. Even that dog is like, I ain't going there, mate. Look at this thing. Yeah, okay, it could be somebody in the bush shaking some leaves, but how do you explain the other leaf, right? And here's another one. The first Fae trap I've seen in an entire 30 years of being in the woods. Odd. Here's another one. Real fail traps caught on camera. 5 videos. Here's one. Imagine seeing that.
Okay, first of all, naturally occurring archway. I go up to it. I know not to pass through because Fae. Come on, Tommy.
Listen. A naturally occurring tunnel, basically. But what else? Watch.
I go up, start looking around. I'm like, oh my god, those are the biggest mushrooms I've ever seen. Go there. Oh my god, biggest mushrooms I've ever seen.
Right? So there you go. Something that interests you. It's like a wow moment, right? You don't usually see this. A huge arch in a natural forest and huge mushrooms that you've never seen before. This is what some people are saying is the Fae putting things down there for you to go in. And if you go in there, you get put into a different dimension and they'll play tricks on you. Sometimes good, but sometimes bad.
Oh my god! Fucking biggest mushrooms I've ever seen in my life. This is definitely a fairy portal. And then, peek around this corner. I don't know if you can tell. That eternal darkness? Yeah. Portal straight to fairy world. I want to go, but I'm scared.
Don't touch it.
The most obvious Fae trap I have ever seen. I'm gonna go touch it. No, Maria, you're gonna get kidnapped.
See, the other thing I would say as well is Fae traps aren't just something like that you could go into another dimension. Fae traps can sometimes be on like deadly cliff edges or slopes or something like an electric wire or something like that, right? These are also the things that you need to be careful of, apparently. Here's some more.
Noticed these mushrooms on the ground, and I came over to discover that it's a huge ring that goes all the way around and comes over there.
Remember what that Irish guy says? But if something's got a circular area to it, right, like a natural formation or a stone wall or something, if it's absolutely touching, right, you shouldn't go into it.
And my husband decided to go inside the fairy ring. I don't know what that means anymore.
But then when she started building a fire pit, some fairies decided that, oh, it's a gift. It's supposed to be a community center. So mushrooms started growing. So we decided to help build this community better. So we're putting rocks around it. We're going to make this a little teepee hut. We're going to put some more colors. And it's going to be a nice fairy garden.
You ain't gonna get me this time, you very obvious Fae trap doorway to nothing. Oh, let's go. No. The most obvious Fae trap I have ever seen. I'm gonna go touch it. No, Maria, you're gonna get kidnapped.
This is what I'm saying. These are the things that these fairies can apparently make that just makes you just want to touch it and play with it or whatever. So in summary, take a look at this.
Not a Fae trap. Not a Fae trap. And the video of the algae in the pond in a circle, yeah, not a Fae trap. There are completely scientific explanations behind all of this, so mundane over magical, people. But let's go into what a Fae trap is. Now, as far as what a Fae Trap actually is, it is going to be something that usually that you want, or something that you need, something that you may have been looking at for a long time, and it's in a location that it really shouldn't be. So like, if you are looking for a particular plant that does not grow in your region, and it all of a sudden appears on your windowsill, yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch it. If, say, you find a perfect ring of mushrooms, all of them touching, the circle is completely unbroken, and it's not a type of mushroom that grows in your area. It's not a type of mushroom that even grows on your continent. Don't touch it. If you hear something calling you in the woods, no, you didn't. That type of thing. If you start seeing lights trying to guide you in a direction, yeah, no, you didn't.
So there you go, guys. That gives you a bit of a breakdown on Fae Traps. Remember, if you see something which is a bit like a Fae Trap, make sure that you don't touch it. Because that's what will happen. Okay? Wasted. So there you go. What do you think about fairies, Fae Traps? Is it real? Is it fake? Is it just a load of baloney? I don't know. Tell me what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you like this type of stuff, make sure you subscribe, because we're going to cover loads and loads of different paranormal and weird and wonderful stuff. Take care. Bye-bye.
Get the merch at Caspersight.com. Just Rambo it.